Hey everybody, it's Sarah from What a Nerd Girl Says, and welcome to my spoiler-filled review of City of Heavenly Fire. Happy release day to Cassandra Clare, because City of Heavenly Fire is officially out today, and yeah, I will be reviewing it today on my vlog. I'm going to warn you now, I'm going to put it in the title, I'm going to put it in the info below, I'm going to do it all over, but I'm giving you a warning now. If you have not read the book and you do not want to be spoiled, please leave now. Like, stop watching this, come back later, don't do it. I will be posting a spoiler-free review on my blog either today or tomorrow, so definitely follow the link to my blog below and you can read that when it goes up. But this is going to have spoilers, so please, if you don't want spoilers, leave now. This is your last warning. I'm about to jump in. Okay? Cool. First off, you're probably wondering how on earth I managed to finish the book when it came out today. It is 2:20 p.m. on May 27th, so obviously the book hasn't been out for very long, but I've already finished it. Well, I got really lucky. I don't know if you've heard, but a lot of Walmarts across the country accidentally released it early, and yes, I will admit I went on a search to go find one. I went to about 3 or 4 different Walmarts, couldn't find it, and was like, okay, that's fine, I will just download the ebook at midnight, like everybody else. And my friend Sydney decided to go to Walmart and just, try. And it was one I hadn't been to, even though it's one close to me. It's just kind of in, like, the opposite direction of where I go when I go to work and stuff. And she calls me, and she's like, it's here! I don't think I've ever driven that fast in my life. This is yesterday. So I drove over, I got my copy, came home. My dad had barbecued for Memorial Day and stuff, so I was eating. And I started the book probably like 7:30 at night, something like that, and I finished it at 1:30 in the morning. It took me 5 hours and 45 minutes to complete. One thing that I have to make clear when I'm doing my review of City of Heavenly Fire is the fact that as much as I was most definitely looking forward to it, I mean, I ran out to go get the book and finished it in less than 6 hours, is that I also was very apprehensive as well. I'm kind of the person that thinks that the series would have ended very well with City of Glass. I thought it was a perfect trilogy. I've never really been a huge fan of City of Fallen Angels or Lost Souls. I remember reading Fallen Angels, and I've only actually read it once, which is crazy for me. I reread books a lot. And I was like, okay. And Lost Souls was better to me, but it just wasn't as good as that original, trilogy was to me. So while I was very excited for City of Heavenly Fire, I wasn't completely sold on how good it could be. I was excited but apprehensive. That being said, I actually really am impressed with this book. Like I said, as soon as I got home, I ate dinner, and as soon as I was done with dinner, I was like, hey guys, nobody talk to me for the rest of the night, because this is what I'm gonna do. And I finished the book in less than 6 hours, which goes to show you that it was something that I really, really wanted to read, and something that I really, really enjoyed. If I had to give it stars like I do on my blog, I would probably do a 4 out of 5 or a 4.5 out of 5. I don't believe that it was perfect. I do think that there were some things that were which I'll get more into, but it was great, and it was much better than I expected, and I really thought it was a great ending to it. I almost wish Fallen Angels and Lost Souls had been just a little bit better to really lead to this actually really great book that the series ended with. First off, I want to talk about Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. They are going to be basically the main characters of the next series that Cassandra Clare is writing, The Dark Artifices, which takes place in LA. And I knew that we were going to meet them. We definitely knew we were going to meet them in this book. But I was kind of unprepared for how much they had to do with the story, and I actually absolutely loved it. Emma and Julian are only 12, I believe, in this book, so when we get to meet them in the Dark Artifices, they will be 16, 17. And I adore both of them so, oh my god, so much. They're absolutely incredible. Emma's going to be a great main character. I really can't wait to get into the Dark Artifices and read about her. I loved how much they gave us of these characters in Heavenly Fire, because it really makes you want to know what happens to them next. And I love that, because of what happens to the Blackthorne family, the oldest Blackthorn is part of the hunt in Fairy, and Helen Blackthorn is basically exiled because she's got fairy blood in her, and the rest of the Blackthorn children and Emma are sent to LA to live with someone they basically don't know. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out 5 years later. So that's really exciting. And there's also the mystery of Emma's parents' death. They think that it's just from Sebastian attacking the LA Institute, but there's obviously so much more to that, and I'm really excited that they've already kind of built up that excitement. Like, way to go, Cassie, on that one. You really built up my excitement for the next series. I'm really happy with the way all the ships kind of ended up. It's kind of weird how they all ended up. I'm really happy that Luke and Jocelyn finally got married. Thank you, everybody, that this finally happened. Jace and Clary were so beautiful in this book. They're one of my favorite pairs, and Jace is one of my favorite characters, like, ever. So that their whole story, just the way they support each other and love each other, and they work together, and they fight together. They fight together, and it's incredible, and they save each other, and it's so different than all the other books, and I love it because they work together, and that's something we really haven't seen before. Magnus and Alec, yes. So excited that that finally worked out, and I'm really glad the way it did too. It didn't happen easy, and even in the end they still realized like how much work it was going to be. You know, I really wanted them to get back together, but I didn't want it to be like happily ever after. There's obviously going to be some work there. Jaya, oh, that's really sad. The whole Jordan and Maya thing, Jordan obviously dies, so that didn't work out quite the way we wanted it to. But we learn a lot about Maya's feelings for Jordan, how, you know, she definitely has forgiven him, but she doesn't feel that way for him anymore. And so I'm kind of excited that her and Bat are maybe hopefully going to be working something out in the future, because you can love more than one person, and I'm glad that there wasn't a happy ending for everybody, I guess, that you can be with more than one person, you can love more than one person in your life. So that's kind of cool. Who else? Who else is a couple in this book? Basically all the ships that really matter to me. Robert and Maris divorcing, I mean, made so much sense to me. They were kind of sloppy, and I feel so much for Isabel and Alec, and, you know, they've already lost a brother, and now their parents are splitting. That's just so much, so much. Oh, Simon and Isabel. Oh my god. Like, just when you think they're finally going to be together, and you're waiting for Isabel to just, like, say it, and Simon tells Isabel she loves her, like, he loves her, and finally, and then, of course, with Simon has to, well, he doesn't have to, he volunteers to make the sacrifice of his immortality and all his memories in order to save his friends from the demon realms, and so he doesn't remember any of them, and in the end, they bring him back, and they're trying to give his memories back, so there's hope that things are going to be okay. But God, when he gives up his memories and you see him and he has no idea who any of them are, it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking for Clary as a best friend, heartbreaking for Isabel as someone she obviously loves. I mean, it's very heartbreaking. So all the ships, all the love, craziness. One part that made me cry a lot, and kind of just because of the feels and the happiness, and it just made me think of Clockwork Princess all over again, is when Jem comes back as Jem, when he's no longer a silent brother. They never call him Jem, and I think that's because she wants to kind of keep it spoiler-free for those who maybe have never read the Infernal Devices, and kind of make that connection later once they've read both, you know, which is kind of smart of her. But when Brother Zachariah becomes regular Zachariah, and he talks to Jace, and he talks about, I mean, he just talks about very vaguely, like, the people in his past, like Will and Tessa and all that stuff, and I just lost it. I couldn't stop crying. I was so excited that he was Jem again, and the way he is cured through trying to heal Jace, and he's basically healed by the heavenly fire, is just beautiful, and I couldn't stop crying. I'm so glad Jem and Tessa, and they end up together, which is beautiful. They're at Luke and Jocelyn's wedding, and they're like holding hands, and I think it's beautiful that Tessa was able to spend time with two of her loves. I mean, she loved Will and she loves Jem, and I think that her spending both, you know, time with both of them and loving both of them, it's just, oh, it brings back Clockwork Princess all over again, and I thought I had, like, recovered from that, but apparently not, because Cassie wanted to bring all of that back into City of Heavenly Fire. One of the biggest reasons why I think I wouldn't give it a perfect score of 5 out of 5 is because I'm kind of disappointed in Cassie's kind of lack of sacrifice, I guess. I think people sacrificed a lot. A lot of people died. A lot of people lost family members. I mean, the Blackthorns alone is just heartbreaking. But I really think there should have been more deaths than there should have been. And some people aren't going to agree with me and think I'm a crazy person, but I tend to like deaths in huge main characters because it's war and it's realistic and it's heartbreaking. But it just, you know, I mean, look at J.K. Rowling. She kills off people and you're like, oh my god. I mean, you kill off, you know, Sirius Black and Dumbledore and huge things like that. So, the people who died are people like Jordan dies, obviously, which I said earlier. All the Endarkened die, all the like dark shadow hunters die. So that means like Amethyst and the Blackthorn Father and such like that. Raphael dies. Maureen dies. Yeah. Those are the big ones, I guess. And like I said, I mean, all deaths that bothered me, except for Maureen. Maureen kind of was a crazy person. She kind of needed to die. But I kind of wish one of the big six would have died. You know, Jace, Clary, Alec, Isabel, Simon, or Magnus. Of course, I would have been absolutely devastated if that would have happened, but it just seemed more realistic. I mean, guys, they were in the demon realms. They were legitimately in demon realms fighting an impossible fight, and not one of them dies. Yeah, that kind of bothered me. I really think it would have been more realistic if one of those would have died. Of course I would have been heartbroken. I was heartbroken when Remus Lupin died, but you know what? It's war, and those people die. So, Cassie kind of disappointed me in her kind of lack of sacrifice, I guess, in her main characters. People give Veronica Roth a lot of crap for Allegiant. I'm not going to go any farther than that because that's spoiler. Sorry. But you have to make the sacrifices for your story and for what's real, and I don't think Cassie did that, so that was kind of disappointing. But moving on, the person that did die, that was kind of crazy, which I think we expected, but not in the way it happened, was Sebastian. I think everybody kind of expected Sebastian to die. He's the villain, he's the threat. I think people hoped for him, but it seemed obvious that he was going to die. And when he died, I was like, yes! It was crazy because I thought, oh my god, how's Clary going to get out of this? She's agreed to be his queen, and they're stuck in the demon realms, and this is crazy. And then she pulls the sword out, which was full of the heavenly fire that she had taken from Jace, which I had kind of predicted, but that's okay. And she stabs him, and I'm like, oh my god! And then the moment came when Sebastian's eyes turned green. And they call him Sebastian, and he says, no, I'm Jonathan. Oh, I'm getting teared up just thinking about it, because I know it's kind of cheesy, but the fact that he had that redemption when stabbed with heavenly fire is incredible. The fact that he apologized for not being a good enough son or a good enough brother, and wishing that things could have been different, and wishing that maybe in another dimension he was those things, was incredible. And it was heartbreaking to see Jocelyn lose her child again, and what could have been, you know, like, you can't forgive him because of all the horrible things he's done, but at that last moment, it was a beautiful way for him to die. It wasn't just him dying, it was just a crazy way for him to die. All in all, I really like this book. I think it was fantastic. I mean, look at this thing. It's a wrong way. Look at how huge it is. It was like buying a Harry Potter book. I picked it up from Walmart, and I picked it up, and I was like, it's a Harry Potter book. It's huge. It's 725 pages. It's ginormous. But I love it, and I thought it was a great ending, and I thought it surprised me so much. I had, you know, hope, but I hadn't gotten too much hope up, and I ended up really liking it. Like I said, 4 to 4.5 out of 5, definitely. I wish there would have been a little bit more sacrifices in the main characters, although I will say that Simon's sacrifice of losing his memory and his immortality was kind of almost worse than death from the memory side. I mean, I was crying. But all in all, just beautiful story, a beautiful way to end it. Just so amazing. Jem and Tessa, learning about Emma and Julian and seeing where their story is going to go in the future. Seeing all my ships sail and, you know, hoping for Simon, and the actual beautiful death of Sebastian and how that goes. So I'm very pleased with it. After this, I have some videos that I took last night as I was reading. I only took a couple, so I'm gonna share them. I'm crying in some of them, so ignore the gross face I'm making, but some of them are kind of funny, so I'd like you to see my reactions as I was reading things. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that you watched this because you've already read the book, or you just want to be spoiled. If I spoiled you, I did warn you in the beginning, so it's not my fault. But happy reading, happy release day to Cassandra Clare, and a spoiler-free review is coming soon. Thanks, guys. Bye. So I'm a total wreck right now. I just read the part where, Jem is no longer brother Zechariah, and he talks to Jace, and it was like, I'm like an emotional wreck right now. Like, I can't even, oh my god. It wasn't really sad. It was just so beautiful. The first scene that Jace talks to Jem as Jem, it was, I can't, oh my god, I can't handle this. More later. So I'm currently on page 290 of City of Heavenly Fire, and I just have to say this, that every time that anybody calls Jace Lightwood, I kind of get a kick out of it, because I feel like I'm one of the only people in the world that wants him Jace Lightwood. I just think it makes sense. Everyone else calls him Jace Herondale, which, I mean, if that's your thing, that's cool, but I call him Jace Lightwood. So I'm like, yes. And I just read it again, so I had to say something. But yes, Jace Lightwood in my world. Okay, currently reading City of Heavenly Fire, and I'm not really sure what's going on. I know I need to keep reading, but it seems that, like, Isabel and Simon and Clary and all of them, they're having, like, sort of, like, happy visions of, like, what could have been, and, like, Max is in them, and I'm, like, dying, because Max's death in City of Glass killed me, so holy crap right now, guys. This is just too much for me to handle. Jace and Clary have sex in a cave, just like Will and Tessa. I'm sorry, but that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, that's all I had to say. Okay, bye. Page 661. And apparently Jace is not Jace Lightwood anymore. He's Jace Herondale. He's decided that's the name he's gonna have. That's bullshit. That's dumb. No, it's Jace's. It's fine. But I just, like, that was funny that I recorded a video earlier about him being Jace Lightwood, and now he is Jace Herondale. So ridiculous.